Okay, so getting back into our coverage over Age of Apocalypse, we're going to start today's video off with Weapon X issue number 2. Now, Weapon X is really more about Wolverine, or really Logan, it's reality, because Wolverine's name was given over to a different character who only lived for like one book and died by the hands of Gambit. But either way, in this reality, for Logan, he is called Weapon X. Really, his series is more about him, but also his relationship with Jean Grey, because in this reality, Jean Grey and Scott Summers were not really able to get together to become a couple. But as we get into the opening pages of the storyline, we really pick up with Logan freaking out. And the reason why, because when he woke up, he realized that Jean Grey was gone. Now, this storyline does take place after Amazing X-Men issue number 2. And the reason why I'm bringing that up, because in that issue alone, okay, you had the Human High Council agree to send over an army of Sentinels, but also all these different aircrafts as a way to save the humans who were still trapped in North America, because by this point in the timeline, well, Apocalypse is the sole ruler of North America, and his main goal back then was to kill off all the humans in North America. And so you had a Human High Council send over Sentinels and all those aircrafts to bring those humans over to Eurasia, a safer area. And so for Jean Grey, when Logan woke up, he realized she was gone. And the reason why, because she wanted to help the people get adjusted to their brand new lives in a brand new home. Now, for Jean Grey, she's also upset about the idea that you now have the Human High Council thinking about bombing North America with nuclear bombs, because they kind of believe the bombs should be able to kill off Apocalypse, but also bring down his entire empire. That is their main goal. But for Jean Grey, she feels like it's just complete madness. Now, things get worse, because as we get into the next section, you have two members of the Brotherhood of Chaos appear. Like I said, this takes place after Amazing X-Men issue number 2. And two members of the Brotherhood was able to get away from the X-Men team. And so because of that, they had snuck on one of the aircrafts that came over to Eurasia. So when all these humans arrived over into Eurasia, you then had those two members of the Brotherhood of Chaos begin to cause chaos at the brand new home for these humans. And so now you have humans dying left and right. Now, you do have Jean Grey and Weapon X being able to, handle this situation, but it looks bad, because now these humans thought they had found a safe place to live, but then out of nowhere in their brand new homes, they get attacked by two members of the Brotherhood of Chaos who work for Apocalypse. The whole idea that he's trying his best to kill off humans across the globe. And for Jean Grey, this is really sad, because now it shows her that, yeah, war is coming very soon, and she has to be ready for it, or she might possibly die. And really for Logan, he kind of feels like Jean Grey wants to die. Now, for Logan, he has to leave her behind. The reason why, because he has a meeting with the Human High Council. But on his way over to the Human High Council, you didn't have Wolverine be confronted by Lady Mariko. Now, for me personally, in the old timeline, she was his main lover. Like, yes, there was Jean Grey, there was Silver Fox, but for me, she was his main lover. And so to see her in this reality, you're kind of left to wonder, did they possibly date one another? And for me, right now, it seems like that is a no. But either way, it's her coming to Logan wondering, is there another way to handle this problem right now between humans and mutants, Apocalypse and humans? Now, it's also her saying that she kind of feels like there's something off when it comes to Brian Braddock. And the reason why, because he's really vested in the whole idea of just bombing North America across the board. But as Logan saying, that man right there is one of the most popular, most important humans in the entire world. And the reason why? Because his company is the one right now that helped create the army of Sentinels that are currently being used against Apocalypse forces. But while you have the two characters talking to one another, another attack pops off in this area. This attack is being done by Reavers. Now, we had talked a lot about Reavers in the old timeline. Reavers are basically people who are given cybernetic body parts as a way to enhance their abilities to fight against different targets, like mutants. Now, most other Reavers were built by Donald Pierce. And in this reality, it's the same thing, but they work for Apocalypse. Now, yes, they are humans, but for Apocalypse, they're the perfect humans. And the reason why, because they can pretend to be humans and just walk in crowds of humans, but really being able to kill off waves of humans just like that because they are cyborgs. And so for Donald Pierce and his Reavers, their main goal right now is to learn what the Human High Council is trying to do, which is a nuclear strike on North America. So you have the Reavers being able to, begin the idea of blowing up the bombs that the Human High Council have under their belt at the moment. Now, all of these nuclear devices or bombs were being kept in air blimps. Now, here's the thing, because before you had Wolverine or Logan get involved, you had Lady Mariko ask Logan to get involved. And he said yes, but he kind of gave her a nickname as he was leaving to kind of hint at the idea of the possibility of these two characters being in love with one another. But something happened in the past with her father that does not allow Logan to be with her. Now, for Logan, he does deal with the Reavers. Now, Donald Pierce is able to get away, it seems like, but one of the blimps does blow up and it does crash into the ground. And so at first, we're kind of left to believe in the possibility that Logan had died in that explosion. But it was Jean Grey being able to help Logan walk out of the explosion and being able to allow his healing factor to save his life. But it's also Logan realizing that it was Jean Grey going into his mind to also say goodbye. And the reason why, because it's Jean Grey going over to America to warn the people what's coming, a nuclear strike. Now, for Logan, he knows if she does that, it ruins the plans that the Human High Council has to hopefully defeat Apocalypse. But for Jean Grey, it would just bring more madness into the world. Now, for Jean Grey, she said, hey, if you love me, you would know the only way to stop me is to most likely kill me. But at the same time, for Logan, he loves her so much, he can't do it at all. And so you have Logan allow her to fly away on a plane to head over to America to warn the people of America what is coming very soon, thanks to the Human High Council. But now we're going to jump over to Gambit in the X-Ternals issue number 2. Now, with this series alone, it's really more the idea of Gambit and his team being a group of thieves who steal from the rich to give over to the poor. Really more of steal from the mutants to give over to the humans. Now, with that being said, in our last video, when it came to Magneto, he had asked Gambit and his team to steal the Imcron crystal from the Shiar Empire. Now, here's the thing, because technically for Magneto, even though he did give our heroes that job, they were kind of sent over there on accident. And let me explain. And so in our last video, we had met a character known as Lila. Now, when it came to Lila, in the old timeline, she was a powerful teleporter who had the ability to teleport across the universe. Now, in this reality, at first, it kind of seemed like she was a human, but we kind of find out that she had no idea that she was a mutant. It was kind of blocked in her mind. But you didn't have Magneto being able to show her that she is a mutant, a very powerful teleporter. The problem was that was her first time trying to use her powers. And so when she did, she had opened up a portal that pulled in the X-Ternals, but also Richter. Now, in this reality, Richter works for Apocalypse, and his main goal right now is to move up the chain. And the best way to do that is to capture the X-Ternals. But either way, when it came to Lila, when she had opened up that portal, it had absorbed the X-Ternals, but also pulled in Richter as well. And so as we dive into issue number 2, We really get into the idea of our heroes arriving at the Shiar Empire and being confronted by the Imperial Guards. Now remember, the Imperial Guards are the protectors of the Emperor or Empress of the Shiar Empire, but in this reality, it seems to be the Emperor. Now, before we get into the whole idea of who the Emperor is in this reality, you do have the Imperial Guards begin to battle against our heroes. Now, at first, they believe our heroes are intruders, and technically they are, but for our heroes, they have no idea how in the world to fight against the Imperial Guards. And so you have our heroes just try to escape, to get far away from, the Imperial Guards before they get captured. Now, I kind of found this a tad bit strange because you do have two characters being able to take down some members of the Imperial Guards, like Sunspot and also Strong Guy. Now, for me, Sunspot's enemy or his opponent was kind of easy for him, but for Strong Guy, he took on Gladiator, and for me, that battle right there should have gone over to Gladiator. And the reason why, because he's basically the Shiar Empire version of Superman, but for Strong Guy, his power is to absorb kinetic energy to make himself stronger. But let's not forget, in the old timeline, we had learned that if he absorbs too much energy, it'll begin to put too much stress on his body, especially his heart. And so this new timeline, it seems like that's not really a factor. But once you do have those two guys being able to take down a few members of the guards, you didn't have our heroes being able to escape for the time being. The reason why I said the time being, because you do have our heroes go into this forest, right? The problem is that when they go inside this forest, well, they kind of find out the forest is actually alive. And so you have the forest begin to grab each of our heroes and take them away. Now, Richter is not with them at all. And here's the reason why. And really, there's two different reasons why Richter is not with the team. Because one, Richter's a bad guy, but two, because he was captured earlier by the Imperial Guards. And so they're kind of hoping to use Richter as a way to find the rest of the humans who came with him, the X-Ternals. And he agrees to actually help the Imperial Guards to hunt down the X-Ternals. Because again, if he's able to capture them and then give them over to Apocalypse, he'll then be able to move up the ranks. But getting back over to our heroes, we do learn for our heroes, they're still stuck in these trees they got caught in earlier. And apparently this whole world belongs to these trees. They're living beings. Now here's the thing, because this world is called, and guys, listen, I am going to mispronounce the name pretty badly here, so please forgive me. The name of this world is the Trishara. And I really hope I pronounced that correctly. I really try my best there. But either way, these beings are very upset about the idea of, these humans being there and cutting down branches earlier. Branches that's part of their bodies. Now, with that being said, you did have Lila say this world had called out to her. And the question is why? And so that is why earlier when she had opened up that portal, it brought them over here because this world had called our heroes here for a purpose. But now we have to jump back over to Gladiator and Oracle. Now, when we do, it's really more of Oracle and Gladiator kind of reading the mind of Richter. Really more Oracle because she is a psychic, but it's more of them trying to learn more about the X-Ternals. Now, for a brief moment, this entire world had simply ceased to exist. There was some kind of blink, and we do learn that apparently there's some kind of Nexus expansion happening in this area. And we have no idea why just yet, but apparently it's because of the Emperor. Now, with all that being said, you have Richter wondering like, hey, if I help you guys, what do I get? And you have Gladiator say, oh, you get to live. Now get to work. How in the world are you going to find the X-Ternals? And you have Richter say, because I put a tracker on one of them. But getting back over to our heroes, we do see our heroes being confronted by a character known as Jonath. I really hope I pronounced that correctly. Now, for Jonath, he is actually a hybrid of two different races that belong to the Shiar Empire. Now, here's the thing, because his race was a line of warriors who went out of their way to protect the Emperor, the past one. The problem was that Emperor was killed off by a character known as Deakin. Now, we have met Deakin in the old timeline, but in this new timeline, Deakin is the ruler of the Shiar Empire, and he made sure that his other siblings would not be able to get the throne from him at all, like Deathbird and Lilandra. Now, Lilandra is dead apparently in this reality, but Deathbird is not. Now, for Deakin, what he is trying to do right now at this exact moment is to control the power of the M'Kraan crystal, and that right there is a huge problem. Because with him trying to control the power of the M'Kraan crystal, it's now sending out energy across the entire universe. And of course, those energy waves are getting bigger and bigger, being able to reach out across the entire universe, but also kind of freezing things in time, are basically making sure things no longer exist in this reality. And so for Jonath here, he said, hey, listen, you guys were brought here as a way to experience what happens to a world that is hit with the energy waves of the M'Kraan crystal. But most likely you guys will not be affected by the next wave to hit this world that is going to die very soon. Now, it's also him saying, like, it's up to our heroes to stop Deakin. But why everybody talking to one another, have the Imperial Guards appear. Now, when the Imperial Guards do appear, their main goal is to bring down our heroes, to hopefully defeat them. Now, here's the thing, because as the battle goes on, the M'Kraan crystal is beginning to send out its energy waves across the entire universe, and of course hitting this planet right here. And so this world right now is beginning to turn into, well, a planet full of crystals, including our heroes as well. So you have our heroes realize that sooner or later they're going to be frozen in time with the rest of the world and most likely no longer cease to exist. But then at the very last second, you then have our heroes be saved by the Starjammers. Now, we had actually met the Starjammers of this reality in one of our earlier videos, because when it came to Christopher Summers, the father to Cyclops and Havoc, he was part of the Starjammers, but he left the team a while ago. And apparently, Deathbird had took his place as their supposed leader. But either way, this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.